We have another great show lined up for you tonight.
I heard we may need an IV in here, Mr. LeBlanc. Mr. Max, are these your parents?
Hi. Hi.
Yeah, night at the restaurant gone awry.
Hi, Bash.
Hey, Arnold.
Hi, my name is Kenny Wong, and I'm the next guest on Rob's Inner Circle. Don't go anywhere. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Robert D'Alessio, and I am the host of Rob's Inner Circle Broadcasting Live. I'd like to welcome our worldwide audience who are tuning in to what is going to be another fantastic show here on Rob's Inner Circle. What would this show be without my two great friends, both Jenny Duhame, who is the producer of the show, and the other shout out goes out to Patty, Lady Starlight Saragosa, who is the techie on Rob's Inner Circle. Past guest on Rob's Inner Circle, Mr. David Marino, our triple threat. And you can watch all of his episode on Rob's Inner Circle on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. He's going to be performing at the Upstairs Jazz Bar and Grill Restaurant on October 27th, both at 7 and at 9:30 p.m. Make sure you watch all of our productions on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. You want to comment, like, share, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel and hit the notification bell, because every time there's a new production coming out, you will be the first to know. Get to hang out with your favorite captain. That's Pilot Bob. He's on TikTok. Occasionally, you can catch him on his meet and greets, and it could be part of the live video as well, joining. And of course, if you don't want to do that, you could just send all those beautiful comments that the audience always likes to do. Movember is once again around the corner, and our producer has her stash ready. The Montreal Alouettes team up with the Bobby Short Shorts production team as they offer us favorite tickets for the November 6th game for as low as $25 at Percival Molson Stadium. A portion of the proceeds will go to the Movember Foundation. Be sure to like and follow our event page on the Seriously Live page to find out more about the Mo Playoff Adventure. Well, folks, it's that time once again. It's time to sit back, relax, let out the bad air and let in the good. Kick up your feet on the edge of the table, sit back and enjoy what is going to be another exciting show this evening. Our guest, he's standing by and he can't wait to come on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's once again showtime. It is time to bring on tonight's star attraction on Rob's Inner Circle. He's best known for his appearance on the popular CTV series Transplant. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome tonight's star attraction, Mr. Kenny Wong.
Hi, everyone.
Wow, Kenny, such a pleasure to have you on our show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Kenny, you're wrapping up you wrapped up last Friday the season as Arnold DeLuca on Transplant. So you're going to be working on the fourth season, hopefully. Is that correct?
I mean, we're crossing our fingers, but nothing's been confirmed. But we're just excited to have finished a wonderful season 3.
The show is highly successful. Has its longevity surpassed everybody's expectations?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, season 1, when we were shooting it, you never know what to expect, right? On a new show, but then the numbers came in, and the feedback came in and all that stuff, and it was really well received, and we're really happy to be on the 3rd year.
Well, before you were part of Transplant, you said you loved watching medical shows. Which shows were among your favorites?
House MD was my jam. It was like 10 seasons, 22 episodes long per season, and I think I've watched every episode at least 3 times. So I was a big House fan.
Well, Hugh Laurie, you were telling me, Hugh Laurie, the guy who plays House on the show, he's a British actor and comedian, but many people didn't know that he was British. Actually, he shocked producers when they got to meet him for the first time, when they found out he was actually British, because his American accent he's got it mastered perfectly.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like his audition, if you watch it on YouTube, that one kind of blew up because he was so House just right from his audition, and he was doing an American accent. And I read an interview where Bryan Singer, who was a producer on that show, he was like, "Oh, I don't want to see any more British actors, just send me American actors." And then Hugh Laurie sent his in, and it's like, "Yes, that's who I want. That's American." And then I was like, "Oh no, he's British." And he's like, "Oh, cast him."
So he made a lasting impression.
Yeah.
In fact, there are many British actors who imitate an American accent so brilliantly. And some examples are Kate Winslet from the Titanic. You got Kate Beckinsale, who played in Van Helsing. Emily Blunt, who was on a movie that I saw not long ago, The Girl on the Train. And there's just countless numbers of people. There you go. Jimmy Chan has just joined us. Hello, Jimmy. Thank you so much for joining us, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Well, Jimmy, since you're there and all the rest of the audience, we have something special tonight on Rob's Inner Circle. It's something we haven't done yet, but we're going to be doing tonight for the first time. So, as you all know, when the show finishes, we all have our meet and greet. We go backstage with Jenny and Patty, and we get to stick around, with our guest for a little while. Hi, Kenny. We get to stick around with our guest, and we take our traditional self-portrait. So this is what's going on tonight. The first person watching, whether it's on Facebook, on the Rob's Inner Circle page, on my personal page, or on our YouTube channel, Bobby Short Shorts, the first person who types in, "I want to meet Kenny Wong," is going to be awarded the possibility of coming backstage at the end of the show and hanging out with myself and our guests, Kenny, Patty, and Jenny. And we're going to have that self-portrait taken at the end of the show as well. So you can come and hang out. We're going to do it through Facebook or which other platform possible on social media. We're going to send you the link to the studio. You get to hang out with us tonight. So that's a first on Rob's Inner Circle. Good luck, everybody. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Kenny, you said you were inclined to answer questions from the audience. So
Sure.
No objections if people ask you some questions?
No, of course not.
Absolutely.
I love answering questions.
He's a great sport. So Hugh Laurie, just like you, and a lot of these people who are make-believe doctors on television, are they all musicians?
Kind of seems that way, eh? No, I think it's just coincidental. But yeah.
Okay, so to tell you the truth, talking about musicians, we have our friend and allergist, Dr. Michelle Kwok. Okay, she came in a top finalist for Montreal's renowned Water Cube Cup. So just letting you know that.
Cool.
Okay, there's this is slightly before your time. Doogie Howser, MD, starring Neil Patrick Harris, was a popular medical show a few years ago. It was about a teenage doctor working in a hospital, and sometimes he would actually get grounded by his parents. This kid's a genius, a teenager who graduated from university. He's a doctor in a hospital, gets grounded by his parents. Have you, by any chance, watched any episodes on YouTube?
No, I watched maybe a clip or two of it. I kind of fell into Patrick Harris during How I Met Your Mother. when that came out. But I became aware of Doogie Howser for sure.
So if you had the latitude to do so, and I know you love Hugh Lowry, and I know you love his character, Dr. Hauster. If you had the latitude, would you bring Dr. House's persona on a TV show?
Oh, for sure. That's like the most fun character. Well, I think producers called him an anti-hero, and I think that that was would be a fun character to do.
So we got Primitivo Steve Seat. Hi, Kenny. What inspired you to get into acting? Okay, that's a question for you. What inspired you to get into acting?
I think when I was in high school, I was really into drama, and I think it was partially because I was an attention seeker. And I think maybe that's how it happened. But I was a musician growing up, but I also loved kind of just being involved in plays and, you know, going crazy and all that stuff. So I think that's kind of where it all started.
Okay, so you play a good guy on Transplant, but are you like most actors who just love playing the exact opposites of themselves, and that is being the bad guy?
The
bad guy?
Yeah, for sure. I love playing the you know, the jerk or the you know, the douchebag kind of character. You know, which are pretty far away from me, that I know of, that, you know, people have not told me that I've been that kind of person. But yeah, I enjoy those because I do play a lot of characters closer to who I am. You know, like Arnold on Transplant is very, very close to my energy, my everyday energy. So yeah.
So you were saying Jimmy Chan, who tuned in, you got to meet Jimmy Chan on a few occasions with some of the fundraisers he does, the organizational stuff.
I think we met first at an Actor Awards ceremony, I believe. Yeah, and then we kind of just, you know, kept in touch.
Was it that I have this funny feeling that Jimmy Chan and Kenny Wong are going to end up working on a movie together somehow, someday?
One day.
You know, through your limited conversations you had with Jimmy, has this been brought up?
Of us possibly working together one day?
Yes.
I believe so.
You see that?
Yeah, I think so. But it hasn't happened yet, but hopefully soon.
Well, it's going to happen sooner than later. That's my bold prediction, and you hear it here, folks. You heard it here on Rob's Inner Circle. So let's get up close and personal with Kenny Wong. Kenny, where were you born?
My really easy answer to that question is usually Richmond, BC, but I was actually born in Hong Kong, and then I moved to Richmond when I was 1. So I'm technically say that I just was born there because I don't have no recollection of Hong Kong whatsoever.
Well, at age 1, of course. Yeah. How do you expect to remember anything at age 1?
Yeah.
Canada is a big place. Why did your parents choose BC? Is it because the ship just docked there? Because it's easier?
I know they were choosing between Montreal and Richmond, or Montreal and Vancouver, and I think they just ultimately decided on Vancouver. I don't know why.
Something to do with the weather, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Montreal would have been great because now that I live here, maybe I would have been better at French.
So, to your knowledge, is Transplant being broadcast in Hong Kong? Your home?
I don't believe it is. I actually, after a pre-interview, I asked my agent, and I don't think it is.
Do you speak some Chinese?
Yes. It's not great. That's why I was so hesitant. I can listen very well because, you know, I kind of grew up speaking to my parents in English, but listening in Cantonese. So kind of my confidence in speaking has kind of gone down the drain a little bit.
Don't know if you know this, but our producer, Jenny Duhame, is great at Chinese opera. She's taking lessons.
Oh.
Aurora Liang.
Wow.
So, and she's
probably,
amazing.
Honestly, she probably knows more Chinese than I do.
Well, the Chinese, is it Cantonese or is it Mandarin?
Chinese opera is probably Mandarin.
The Chinese that you are familiar with.
Cantonese.
Cantonese?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Kenny, tell us, what was your childhood like?
I kind of grew up in a very disciplined household. So, I grew up a musician. So I was kind of practicing every day and making sure I had good grades. And yeah, I mean, up until, 30 years later.
Okay, so looking back to your childhood as you were growing up, were there any indications at some point that you might end up in the performing arts world?
I knew off the bat I was going to be a some sort of performer because, I chose the violin when I was 6. So I knew that performance was going to be a big aspect of it. And, many years later, you go to university for music and then transfer into acting, which is another performing art. So.
Okay, since you like performing, is stand-up comedy part of your wish list?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't call it a wish list, more like something that I need to get over the fear of one day doing, because I really admire stand-up comics and improv artists. I have a good friend who does stand-up comedy, and I always I'm jealous that he's able to do it. I'm just not great. I don't know if I would be able to handle it. One day I'll try it, just say that I've done it. But yeah, no.
Well, they have a lot of places in Montreal with, I don't know if it's still around, Offbeat Comedy. My buddy Claudio Silva Capri. It's like improv night. You just go.
Yeah. My buddy teaches at Montreal Improv, and I've just been always meaning to go, and I always keep chickening it out. So,
Kenny, with a couple of beers, under the belt, it's easy.
That's probably the only way that I'll do it.
You go up there and look at it this way. This is the way I see it. Nobody cares. Nobody's listening. You just go up there and do your number. Next thing you know, you hear people laughing. You go, "Oh, some people were listening."
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
So we got Jimmy Chan over here. Okay, well, what's Jimmy's comment? Hi, Kenny. I'm happy to see you there at Rob's Inner Circle interview. Very proud of your achievements. You are so talented. Sky is the limit for you. Wow.
Jimmy's very sweet.
He's a great guy. And you know what? Now that Jimmy is on, he's such a great guy. We love Jimmy. He was on our show twice, as a matter of fact. You can go that on the Rob's Inner Circle playlist on Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. Jimmy is the owner of the Walk Cafe restaurants. He's got 3 outlets, by the way. So if you guys,
Jimmy owns the Walk Cafes?
He is the owner of Walk Cafe restaurant.
Wow.
Hey, Jimmy, I tell you what, now that you're on, plug yourself. Give us the addresses, the locations where your restaurants are. Not only can Kenny go out there and enjoy the dining experience, it's great. The General Tao is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, no. So, yeah, that's why I was like, really? Because
no. Seriously,
I often go to the Walk Cafe on St. Catherine Street by Geek Concordia, and I've always been telling people that's the best General Tao.
Well, it is an old recipe that was handed down from, if I believe, correct me, Jimmy, if I'm wrong, by his grandfather, I believe. Anyways,
amazing.
That is, nobody's got, it's great. So Walk Cafe, folks, is a dining experience.
Then, yes, absolutely. Get the General Tao, people. That I'm helping plug that because it's the best General Tao I've had in town.
But also, I adored the orange beef. Sesame.
I haven't had that one.
Anyways, they had a whole bunch of succulent dishes over there. It was such a great dining experience. Okay, we sold that one a few years ago downtown. Okay, but you got 3 more, Jimmy. Give us your location so we have the audience visiting your place, Jim. So to get back to the questions over here, Kenny, at age 6, you wanted to be a violinist. How did this come about?
I watched the family friend's concert, like a recital, and I think he was like eight years old versus when I was 6, and I just loved it. I just enjoyed it so much that I asked my parents if I could play violin as well, and they're like, "We'll give him a year." Then, 20 something years later, including a degree in music.
And you're playing the violin. Wow, this is amazing. So I'm not too sure to put this in perspective, but I'll try. You take an accordion player, he plays the accordion, and he can easily play a piano. Since the violin is a stringed instrument, I don't know if I'm saying this, is it naturally possible that a violinist may be able to pick up the guitar easier because he's got some kind of
probably. Violinists have really good ears. The trained violinists have very good ears, and they're able to adapt to a lot of instruments. So it's not that far away. We understand the finger placements and all that stuff. Guitar is a bit easier because they have frets, which is pretty much the line, like where kind of like it shows you where you place your fingers and all that stuff. So
I guess using the violin stick to play guitar is virtually impossible because a violin, it's like concave, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to have the same shape on the guitar neck, which is impossible. But
like the violin has a bridge which curves. The guitar is just flat, so you wouldn't be able to really play anything.
Okay, so here we go. Jimmy, when do you have time, Kenny? I would like to invite you to our West Island DDO Walk Cafe and another one in Kirkland.
Cool. Sounds good.
So there you have it, folks. You have 2 locations here. You have one in Dollar des Ormeaux Walk Cafe, and the other one is in Kirkland as well. And I went to the one in DDO. That's where we had a great dining experience. Jenny and Patty, our team here, Rob's Inner Circle, were there, and we were absolutely delighted. Tell us, Kenny, have you composed any music on your violin?
No, I'm much more of a performer than I am a composer. I've never composed anything.
I don't know much about violins, but one violin song I really like is The Barber of Seville.
Yeah, I've played that in orchestras, and I've played in operas and all that stuff. So,
and I especially love Bugs Bunny's version of The Barber of Seville.
I don't know that one.
You don't know that one? YouTube, my friend. YouTube. Go on YouTube, punch it in. Bugs Bunny. He gives Elmer Fudd one heck of a haircut. That's something you're gonna watch. It's sheer entertainment.
Good to know. Good to know.
There are great violinists who dance and play violin at the same time. People such as Ashley McIsaac, there's Lindsay Sterling, Haneen El Alam. Does a person who sings and plays violin at the same time exist? Has that person been born yet?
Oh, I mean, probably, but I don't know them.
So how long was the process from the moment you you wanted to play violin, your parents gave you a year, he'll get over it, he didn't get over it, so they got you a violin. From the process you got that violin to when you actually began taking your first class, how long did that take?
Within the month, I think. If they were going to get me a violin, they were going to get me into into classes as soon as possible. Otherwise, their ears would just be bleeding at home.
There you go. So Jimmy Chen says he's going to touch base with you on Messenger.
Cool.
So here we
Sounds
go.
good.
This is
Thanks,
great.
Kenny.
Thank you so much, Jim. Are you? I was about to ask you if you're a self-taught violinist, but we were talking about lessons. So you took lessons. Did you take lessons from the same teacher for all of those consecutive years?
No, I've had 3 different teachers, or 4 different teachers over my lifetime.
Jimmy, I would like to share with the audience your demo reel as an actor, which is really interesting. You're going to get to see some of the work that, did I say Jimmy? It's Kenny.
I let that slide.
Nobody heard that. Kenny, so we're going to be playing your demo reel, your acting demo reel. And folks, prepare your questions when we come back. It could be anything pertaining to his acting career or what have you. Any question you want to ask Kenny, you're allowed to ask the questions. We're going to be back right after this little presentation.
Help me.
I actually think that's overly simple. We're in an age where the ephemeral nature of the internet creates the need to be first and loudest. So trust is actually secondary. People want to connect and share an experience. So there's
right, even if that means
hang on,
that.
just let me finish. I devoted an entire chapter in my book to this topic. People are arguing because it lets them feel engaged. And that's what people want right now, to feel engaged.
I just panicked. I grabbed the cash box and I ran. There are people who needed that money. They worked for it. They deserved it.
So how did the gun end up in your house?
I bought a gun a couple of years ago. After the riots in Halifax, I was scared. We were all scared. We still are. But I never brought it with me, I swear. I have to tell my quartet, because otherwise they're wondering why I sound like shit. I have to tell Mark, because he's my teacher, and he's not fucking blind. I have to tell my doctors, because they're supposed to be helping. But no one is helping. They have no clue how to fix it. It's getting worse. If I don't have to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. It has nothing to do with you.
Yes, it does. Okay, you won't respond to any of my texts or calls. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
My finger is fucked! Is that what you want to hear? This one stupid little thing is ruining everything, and there's no cure to it!
Did the ELISA go out for Alyssa? The Lyme disease test and the tick bite.
Oh, yeah, yes. I sent it to public health.
Okay, confirm with the Western blot and tell her they'll follow up when the results come in. Do you need me to take some?
You're juggling already with 5 patients, and you must be tired from your night shift. I can ask.
It's fine, it's fine.
Are you sure?
Here, yeah.
I need to work with Dr. LeBlanc.
Yes, thank you.
先生，你安靜下，我哋會俾啲鎮痛劑你嘅。我苦黨，我哋會，我苦黨，就就是
It's not Cantonese. I don't speak Mandarin, but it doesn't sound like that to me either. It could be a regional dialect. They could be very different.
Okay, call for a translator.
Can I talk to you about something?
Not gonna lie, I froze.
I know what you're trying to do with the licorice and the lampposts, but I don't think we should do anything amateurish. Look, I totally get what you're trying for. Very women's magazine, if you like that sort of thing. I'm sensitive too. I get it.
If anything happens to me, you get rid of this box, okay?
Amir told us all this, but he doesn't know who your supplier is.
Yeah, I figured it was safer you didn't know.
I don't understand you. You came to Berlin to find yourself, that's what you told me.
Yeah, well, we're all trying to find ourselves, aren't we? Just one seriously lost generation. Oh, great band name, by the way.
Change the subject, I hate when you do that.
It's good to see you, Coop. It's now time to wake up!
Oh, that's a great demo reel you got there.
Thanks.
Great job. And when you were speaking to that patient in the transplants, was that Cantonese?
That was Cantonese, yeah.
Okay, so I guess you got some. There's proof you got some kind of knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. It's just I'll need a little help with it because I don't speak it nearly enough for me to be fluent in it. So I got some help on it.
So as a violinist, did you have a chance to perform at a high school or any other level?
Oh yeah, for sure. I performed all my life. I performed high school talent shows, performed in I competed in music festivals in Richmond and Vancouver, all over BC, around Canada. Went on to do orchestras and all that stuff. Even in university, I was playing in professional orchestras already. And so, yeah, performance was all my life.
So we have a question for you coming from Primitivo Steve C. And he says he's an aspiring actor himself. And his question is, what advice do you have for him and other inspiring actors who are going into the industry?
That's a great question. I think number one for everyone that I get this. Oh, thanks. That I get this question is find an acting class. Find an acting class. Train. Learn your craft. Learn storytelling. Learn about characters. Learn everything you need to, and get as much experience as possible doing student films, independent films. Create your own stuff, learn about filmmaking and editing and all that stuff, because that's what's going to help you grow as a storyteller. And I think
in terms of learning how to making your own stuff, your own filming, is there anywhere you suggest that Primitivo can go see? Like YouTube, is that a platform that has a lot of videos that shows you how to do some?
Yeah, for sure. You can learn like, how to use Adobe Premiere or Final Cut, which is our editing softwares on YouTube tutorials and all that stuff. You can learn how to use cameras, through there too. That's how I learned. My best friend's also, he was a filmmaker before I was, and he taught me a lot of stuff as well, but he learned all that stuff through YouTube. So he was just transferring stuff. But the biggest thing is just doing it, right? It's like you just need to build the experience, and you yourself, when you're creating stuff, you're going to know what you like and what you don't like and how you want to improve on it. So it's just stepping into the mud and just starting to do it.
You were diagnosed with a moving disorder in your left hand. What happened?
So in university, in my second year of university, I went to music school at McGill. And once you're kind of at that university level, you're practicing about 6 to 8 hours a day. So because of me over practicing, I kind of developed a movement disorder in these two fingers here. It was a neurological movement disorder called focal hand dystonia, which kind of caused my fingers to kind of contract involuntarily. It's a kind of an injury that not a lot of people know about, and there's no cure to it. There's just treatments. So I still have it to this day. So kind of once I discovered I had it, I kind of knew that might be the end of my music career, my violin career, because I could have, tried to do something else. But go into acting.
You can still play, but you can't play at the same level.
Yeah. I would say, how would I say this? If anybody follows the Habs, how Carey Price's injury, he's, fantastic goaltender. Injury has caused him not to be able to play anymore right now, but he's trying to heal and all that stuff. But what he said was, I can't really train at a professional level anymore for the time being. So that's kind of where I'm at for the rest of my days.
So since you're a Canadiens fan, and you agree with me that when Chris Kreider, the Rangers, ran into him and injured him, I told myself that's pretty bad. And I guess it's that moment that Carey's career went down the tubes.
Yeah, and then we had that amazing Stanley Cup final run 2 years ago, and that was when after that he was playing injured too throughout that whole playoffs. So he now he's paying for it.
Well, they're actually. I was tuned in to TSN 690 this afternoon, and Mitch Melnick was actually saying with his colleagues, saying that probably they're thinking about erecting a statue of Carey Price and retiring his jersey.
I would. I don't know about the statue, but I would retire his jersey.
Okay, out of all fairness, Carey Price, yes, is a great goaltender, but Carey Price hasn't won a Stanley Cup. I mean, he's had a few awards here and there when he was at his best, and most of his career, he's had a couple of sensational seasons, but most of his career he was either playing injured or he was having a hard time.
But he was also playing with mediocre teams in front of him. He's never had Crosby or McDavid in front of him, right? So.
you bring up an excellent point, and that's exactly what was brought up on that show today.
Yeah.
So since you've been diagnosed with it's called dystonia, right?
Dystonia.
Dystonia. Okay, since you've been diagnosed with that, I'm just throwing this into the air because your hand is, holding a violin this way. If you would actually put it this way, holding a guitar, could you make the switch playing guitar?
No, I think it's the same thing because you're still kind of doing repetitive motions, right, with your hand, and so it's still the motion of trying to pick up the fingers on time and not having that fear of missing notes and all that stuff. So it's still going to be there, I believe.
Okay, so you played hockey. How far did you delve into the sport?
Well, I played pretty much neck and neck in terms of, practice hours and discipline with the violin until about maybe 11 or 12. And then my violin teacher forced me to pick one, and I chose the violin. And I got injured. And now I'm like, what if I was a hockey player?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I most likely would have been injured. So who knows?
Why are you saying that? You probably would have been in the Montreal Canadiens roster.
Because it's hockey, and you'll get injured.
Yeah. But then again, have you ever tried playing hockey and playing your violin at the same time while you're on the bench between a line change?
No, because no. That's just a simple no.
Okay. So while you were playing hockey, which position did you play?
I played all over, mostly center. I was a terrible goalie. They made me try that too. Yeah.
Okay. And which position would you have liked to play that you didn't have a chance to play?
I wanted to be a center.
So you got to play, exactly.
Yeah.
So as a centerman, which centerman in the National Hockey League, past or present, is your all-time favorite?
McDavid.
McDavid.
Easy. That's an easy answer. I didn't have to think about it.
Is McKinnon a centerman too?
Yeah.
Okay. McKinnon down in Colorado, he's you think McDavid is a notch above him?
Oh yeah. I think that's a unanimous consensus amongst everyone, as a lot of people.
You're extremely blessed to have parents who are very supportive. And I know some folks who, whose lives are absorbed into their children's participation in hockey. In fact, many of them make many sacrifices just so that their children can get to play hockey. Some of them go as far as getting loans for their children to play hockey because it's very, very expensive to be a hockey player. So just like all of those hockey kids out there, you were getting up at 4 a.m. for practices, for games, tournaments. Tell us a little bit what you put your parents through.
I feel like my mother's always up at 4 a.m. anyway, so I don't think waking up at that time is that much of a stretch. It's trying to get me out of bed. I think that's the hardest part. But it's something that I'm appreciative of them having done that. They gave me a lot of choices in life and what I wanted to do or wanted to pursue, and so yeah.
Okay, so for how long did you play hockey?
Good 7 years, I believe.
So you come from BC. One would be inclined to think that you may be a Vancouver Canucks fan, but no, I'm
a Canadiens fan.
You're a Canadiens fan.
Yeah.
So the moment you moved here, all of a sudden you just embraced the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, I started watching maybe 4 years when I moved to Montreal, and so it was always going to be the Habs. Even when Habs versus faced the Canucks, when we were going to that game, I was cheering with the Habs. It was not even close.
Did you have a chance to go back in time and see the evolution of the Vancouver Canucks uniforms?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Just the original uniform does it for me with that Pacific
with the
blue.
whale.
It was a simple skating rink with a hockey stick in it, and that just did it for me.
Oh, but they still have it now.
Yeah, but
now.
I like that traditional jersey. When they came up with the black and yellow, they had that big V. The home uniform was yellow. Oh my God, it was just horrible. Hey, Miriam. Oh, you know Miriam?
Oh, yeah. We went to
Miriam Lopez. Hello, Miriam. Such a long time no see. Thanks for tuning in, Miriam. Guys, Miriam Lopez is a terrific actress. Go on to her social media page on Facebook, on her YouTube channel. She's done a lot of amazing movies. She's a great actress. She's training very well. She's got a lot of Kenny Wong in her, that the discipline. The discipline and that will to go out there and to be a great actor, always to outperform herself. And nice to have you on, Miriam. It's really, really, it's a pleasure and it's an honor. And by the way, we have a web series called Daily Struggles, and Miriam is part of our cast. So we should be filming sometime soon. Should be getting that back on the road again. Oh my God, good old Miriam. So Miriam, hey, listen, what project are you working on right now? Let the audience know so they could follow you a little bit more. Tell us, Kenny, you made the choice, violin over hockey. If we can turn back time, just like Cher says in her song, if we can turn back time and you can go back and make that decision all over again, would you choose hockey over the violin, even though you think you may have gotten injured?
If I knew I was going to get injured, of course I would try a different path. But then, so who knows? Who knows what the future was going to hold if I chose hockey? Being a 5'7", 5'7" dude with huge glasses and needing contact lenses. So yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would love to see what that life would have been like, and because I love hockey so much now.
Well, you did watch the movie Slapshot, didn't you? I mean, even though it's an old movie.
Oh no!
You don't watch the movie Slapshot? Oh my God, go on! You got to watch Slapshot with Paul Newman.
I know it's hailed as one of the best hockey movies of all time.
Oh man, it is hilarious.
Watch it.
So you do have hockey players that are about 5'7", and they wear glasses. The Hanson brothers.
Oh yeah,
absolutely hilarious. You got to go watch Slapshot. Oh my God. Kenny, you're amazing. There you go, Miriam.
Oh, stop it, Miriam.
Miriam's sending you her love. Kenny, you're also a writer. Tell us how that came about. How did you get interested in writing?
It came directly from the dystonia, focal hand dystonia. I just wanted to find a place to kind of just express myself, kind of all the frustrations and emotional kind of turmoil I had to deal with during my time at McGill. And so I decided to write a feature film, and I just poured my heart out in it. And I was like, I'll send it somewhere. And then it kind of did well at a Toronto Screenwriting Conference. And it was just a very eye-opening experience when I was there. And it kind of made me fall in love more with storytelling and wanting to create stories. So that's kind of how I started being like, okay, I'm going to start learning proper kind of formatting and story structure, how to properly build characters and all that stuff. So, yeah.
You touched quite a bit of the performing arts, but is there a specific moment in your life where you decided, hey, I'd like to be an actor?
It was in high school doing drama, I would say. But that I think that was my just love of kind of just doing it. But then I went to McGill and decided, I could have decided on trying out for an acting school or go to music school. And of course I went to music school because that's where I was trained and where I was strongest. But then when I was in music school, I was like, I need to find an acting class. And that's when I started at Stray on acting studios, and, and I still, go to classes here and there while I'm like shooting Transplant and all that stuff. So it's kind of been a little bit neck and neck kind of since high school.
There's a few people who have just tuned in. And at the beginning of the show, we had said that we usually have our meet and greet at the end of the show where Jenny, the producer, or the techie on the show, Patty, we meet up with our guests backstage. So tonight we're doing something a little different. You can come and hang out with Jenny, Patty, myself, and Kenny backstage after the show, and you're going to get your meet and greet picture. If you want that to happen, this is what you got to do. You got to write in the comments, whether you're on Rob's Inner Circle Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, or on the YouTube Bobby Short Shorts channel. You got to write the following. I want to meet Kenny Wong. The first person that writes that is going to come and hang out with us at the end of the show. Good luck, everybody. You still have about 15 minutes to do this. There we go. Welcome, Dominic DeRosa. Hello, Dominic. Thank you so much for joining us. Dominic is another great actor from Montreal, by the way.
Hi, Dominic.
Do you know Dominic?
Yeah, we've exchanged a few messages.
Everybody knows everybody. My God, it's a small world, this acting world.
Yeah.
Okay, so nowadays auditions take place on Zoom or similar platforms. How have you adapted to this new way of doing auditions? And by the way, what advice can you give to your peers when auditioning online?
I just to answer that first part of the question, I think self-tapes were such a big part of our industry before the pandemic hit. So I think that was, for a lot of people, that was, not much of a change. But I think once we had to start learning how to do Zoom auditions, that was a bit of a change because some people aren't so tech savvy, and the quality of their auditions don't look or sound great, despite good performances and stuff. So I think the best thing to do is just really adapt yourself to how to properly light yourself, so that on screen you look great. Make sure it's framed properly. Don't be framed like this. Make sure you have, a decent sound quality, a good mic, and try it out with your friends. Like Zoom your friends and make sure and do the scene with them and see if it sounds good on their end, and see what kind of how much range you have and how much is too much and how much is too little, and kind of explore that, and then make it your permanent setup. Otherwise, you might risk the chance of losing out on that part because your tape looks so bad that it distracted from your performance. And it's happened many times. I've been a reader at Kenny, and that's happened.
So we have a few pictures to share with the audience over here. We're going to go through a few of them. If you weren't acting, this is from Primitivo Steve Seat. If you weren't acting, playing the violin and or playing hockey, what would you be doing as an occupation? There you go.
Probably a cop.
A cop?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about do you have a passion for police work?
I I think my love for being a cop comes from just watching so many cop shows and just finding the excitement in what they do every day.
Yeah, but you look too nice. You look too nice to be a policeman. I can't imagine you giving a 90-year-old lady a ticket because she went through a stop sign. You're too nice for that.
I'd be that lovable cop. I'd be that cop that people love and want to hang with. But I'd be like, I'm working, guys, not tonight.
Yeah, but you got to meet quotas as a policeman, right? At the end of the month.
Yeah. But I'll do the quotas properly. I wouldn't like make up, it's like crimes or anything.
So let's get a look at some of these pictures. How about this picture? Talk to us about this picture, Kenny.
Look at that clean face, no facial hair. That was the premiere of Transplant season 1 in Toronto. There was a nice little red carpet premiere hosted by CTV, and
how special did you feel that night when that picture was taken?
Oh, I was nervous as all heck because I had never walked a red carpet before, so it was my agent had to calm me down a little bit.
I've walked down the red carpet many, many, many times.
Yeah.
In my dreams, that is.
Oh, nice.
So we got another slide over here. Talk to us about this picture, Kenny.
So that was at the premiere of my short film of Dystonia. We made a short film version of the feature that I wrote, and then it premiered at the Toronto Shorts International Film Festival.
And speaking of Dystonia, this is a screenshot from your film Dystonia.
Yeah, that was that's pretty much the opening shot of the film, and that's me at like I think I was like 26 trying to play 20 again.
And we got the Toronto Urban Film Festival shot here as well.
Yeah, this was, look at that hair. It's terrible. And those glasses. Jeez. This was so long ago. I can't remember what year it was, but me and my best friend, we filmed a short horror film. And they got into the Toronto Urban Film Festival, and we were like vying for the Audience Choice Award, and we were like just bugging people to vote. And then we won, and then we're like, yay. And then this was our proud moment at at the festival.
Okay, so you're one of the main characters in the hit series Transplant. So talk to us about how you got the audition, what was going through your mind, and how confident you were when you stepped into the room.
For the audition?
Exactly.
Oh, I wasn't at all. I remember getting the audition and just and then prepping for it. Going into the waiting room full of so many actors. It was jam packed. Everyone trying to vie for a recurring role on this new medical show that I think we all knew was gonna be here for a while. And I just remember them running way behind, and the casting director would come out and just be like, "So sorry, we're running behind," but everyone's just saying lines, these are recurring characters, you have to be likable. So there was a lot of kind of pressure. Everyone's just like looking at each other. It's like, oh no, that like standards are real high for this, And I was next after that speech. So that was nerve wracking. You go into the room and you're like, okay, I got this. It's gonna be fine. I got this. I prepared for it, and you do it. And then you just hear the casting director be like, let's do that again. And you're just like, oh no, I'm one of those, and then it was ultimately the note that she gave me was, Kenny, just be yourself, be Kenny. And I was like, okay. And I did it. And then she was like, that was it. Remember that. And then I was like, remember that? I'm like, I'm not getting this part, so why would I need to remember that? Anyways, and then I left and didn't hear anything for a month. Then I heard that they were still casting that role. Then I emailed my agent. I was like, okay, I need to redo this audition. I think I can do a better audition. And then my agent was like, okay. And then I was like, I was going to do it the next day. And my agent then emailed me like 2 hours later. She's like, don't redo your tape. You're shortlisted for the part. And I was like, what? And then they're like, yeah, we just got notice. And then 4 days later, they're like, you got the part. And I was like, what's happening? It was an insane week of that. So you just never know, right? I think every casting director tells you, you might not feel like you did great, but and then you wind up getting the part. Like that's what happened to me, kind of, real life.
Unbelievable. Wow, that was such a great experience. And we also have Sonia Barnes-Huggins, who has joined us, and she says, hi, Kenny. She saw you on Transplant a couple of weeks ago while she was a background extra.
Oh,
it was so much fun. Fabulous actor. Wow.
Oh, that's so nice. Hi, Sonia. Thank you.
Well, if you remember, Kenny, I did, in the pre-interview we had, I did mention Sonia Barnes-Huggins to you, and I told you you could expect that she'll be in our show tonight. And lo and behold, here she is.
Oh, nice.
Thanks for joining us, Sonia. And where is it exactly that you auditioned for this amazing role?
At Kenny and Wells Casting. So, and the best casting directors in town, Andrea Kenyon and Randy Wells. They're amazing.
Was it Randy Wells who was auditioning you?
Yeah.
So of course you have this connection with Randy Wells because, let's hand it to them. They're the ones that gave you this lucky break. And when she was telling you to do this over and over again, as an actor, Kenny, right now with the experience you have, it means that they're kind of liking you. They want to see if
they believe in you. I think that's the key to it. It's like, if they didn't think you were right for the part, they wouldn't keep asking you to do it. But if they believed in you, they think that you really had a shot, they would spend the time. And I think that note was the perfect note because that's how I got the job.
So you're working with some amazing actors on the show. To name a few, we have Laurence Leboeuf, who has played a lot on French television. You also got Aisha Issa. For those of you who don't know who she is, she's one of the prisoners on Unité 9 on French television, and she was on that show for a few seasons. I'm not sure. I haven't watched the show in a long time. I don't even know if the show's playing anymore, let alone if she's still on the show, if it is.
She's not. I don't believe she's still on the show because she's working, big days and long hours on transplant. So I don't think she has the time.
These are two amazing actors, and I mean, and not to discredit the other actors, because we can go on and naming all the actors, but all the actors on the show. How much fun is it working with these amazingly talented people? Teresa Pichano says hi. She's a local.
Oh, hi, Teresa.
You know Teresa?
Yeah. Again, it's a small,
everybody.
Small community in Montreal. We all know each other.
So tell us, how much fun do you have working with these amazing actors?
Oh my gosh. Just to kind of focus on the two that you named, like me and Aisha have the best time. Whenever we get scenes together, we just have a blast. We just we can't stop making each other laugh. And with Laurence, she is such a powerhouse actress. I think I learned the most from her whenever I have scenes with her. She's so incredible. She spits medical dialogue like it's her first language. Like not even like English and French. I mean, like medical dialogue is her first language. That's how good she is with it. I remember we had a walking scene, me and her, and she was just spewing out stuff, and I had to try to write down what she said, and all I was writing down was like literally like letters of the alphabet because she was talking so fast. Like, she's incredible. I feel blessed being able to work with all the actors on Transplant.
And we're going to let the cat out of the bag here. We actually did try to get maybe a couple of cast members that Kenny has on this show, but it was impossible because for a lot of reasons, they wrapped filming on Friday. Everybody's traveling east, west, south, north, whatever. They couldn't make it, but they would have loved to be in our show, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And see, I just know it. I just know it. Kenny, we're done. Our closing comments. My God, where has this hour gone?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Kenny, what advice do you have for people? We had this question pop up earlier on the show, but for the closing comments and for those who just may have tuned in, your personal advice to someone who wants to get into this business and keeps getting turned down all the time. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because rejection is such a big part of the business. And you had an interview last week with the Nadia and Vera where they said that this has to be the life for you, that you need to be okay with rejection. It can be mentally taxing a little bit, the work behind it. But if my acting coach would say, if you stick with it, you'll make it. Because there's a lot of times you might want to give up, but that's the hump. That's that plateau that you need to jump over. And this is where you're going to really succeed. So if you get over that hump of oh, so I can't do this anymore, that's when things are going to really arrive for you. And, you know, on top of that, training is such a big thing that I kind of preach. You know, I did that for so many years. And I think a lot of people now kind of take it for granted, thinking that like, oh, you know, I'll just wait for my agent to call, or, oh, I get an audition once a week, that's enough acting. It's like, no, it's like you won't get the part, because you need to learn how to deliver layers, and you need to know how to tell a story, which is incredibly difficult because people think they know what storytelling is, but they don't. It's, you know, they know what the plot is of the movie, but they don't know what the story is, which is entirely different. So I think just patience, don't give up, and train. I think those are the big ones.
Kenny, such a pleasure to have had you on our show. This hour just flew by. Just before we sign off, we have a friend, Raul, who tunes in occasionally on our show, and he tuned in at the right time. Raul is a fellow from Los Angeles, California.
Oh, nice.
And Raul, if you're not familiar with Kenny Wong and what the show Transplant is, that's incredible. There you go. Kenny Wong is one of the actors in the series Transplant. And they play this on NBC. So back in Los Angeles, tune in to NBC and watch Transplant. There's a lot of amazing actors. Thank you so much, Kenny. There you go. We have one of the fans.
Thank you for tuning in.
And thank you to each and every one of the audience members. Such great advice. Thank you, Kenny. Yes, Sonia. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Kenny, I stand by for the meet and greet with the production team and myself. Life goes on after this show. Thank you, Kenny. So what are your closing words to the audience?
Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Robert, Jenny, and Patty for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Excellent. So stand by. We're going to come and get you right after the show.
Great.
There you have it, folks. That was our guest this evening, Mr. Kenny Wong. He is part of the cast on CTV's series Transplant. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to what was another great show. Just before we sign off, we now have the possibility of tuning into Rob's Inner Circle on Saturdays between noon and 3 p.m. on accessradio.ca. You download the Access Radio app. That's Access, ACCESS Radio. It's the app with the Mike and the Wings logo. So you want to listen to that weekly. You can watch all of our shows on Access Radio. Once again, folks, I thank you very, very much for tuning in and just having made the show so great. Thank you, everybody, for participating. And you can follow Kenny Wong on social media, and make sure to be watching Kenny Wong on CTV's Transplant. Season 3 has been wrapped. Thank you, everybody. God bless, and we'll be seeing you sometime soon. Ciao.